Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to get started writing your first book with your class. And the good news is it's actually pretty simple and you'll have everything you need right in front of you, I guarantee it. But I'm going to run you through it today. Firstly, you need some paper. A4 is perfect, it works brilliantly, the kids are used to it and it's easily available. You can go bigger, great. I wouldn't suggest going any smaller just because the kids tend to squish their work up a little bit. So A4 bits of paper, I've got 12 in this sleeve because I'm going for a printable book option. You can also see that I've labelled it with the student name, so it makes for really easy organisation and the kids can go and grab their folders and they know what to do. I also like using these folders. I find this to be quite robust and getting each kid a folder like that at the beginning of the year is just saves my life. So they're really great as well. If you've got them, use them. With your paper, the next big decision you've got to make is whether you're going to go portrait or landscape. And it's a big decision because it's going to affect the end outcome of your work. So you really want to make that decision early on what you're going to work with and keep it consistent right throughout your creating of a Littlescribe book. So I'm going to go for portrait, 12-page book, A4, really simple in a folder, nice and easy. Then once you've got your paper sorted, then you go to your actual drawing materials. And here I've just got a selection of textures, pencils, crayons, all things that you'd normally find in the classroom. However, you're not limited by these materials. You can go using your watercolour paints, your oil pastels. There's a whole range of things. You can create dioramas and use coloured paper. You're only limited here by your imagination, but it's your first book. So let's just keep it really nice and simple. But there's lots of things that you can do. And remember that when you're creating your Littlescribe book, you're actually, you're ticking off your writing outcomes and you're ticking off your visual arts outcomes as well. So spending a bit of time and creating a couple of beautiful artworks actually is a win-win for everybody. And they look fantastic when you actually put them in the book. A couple of things that are optional to get you started, and just I like to share a couple of tips with you, is I've got a bit of a storyboard planner and I just find this helps for the kids to have a bit of an overview about what they're going to be doing and how it's going to look. And particularly the younger ones, the concept of actually building a book is still quite new to them. So this helps with that process a little bit. As well, I've got a little teacher tips and tricks sheet here, which has got just a couple of basic bits and pieces, but they're just little mistakes that I made along the way that I'm willing to share with you. So you can hit me up on the email, hello@littlescribe.com, and I can flick that to you. It's just a black line master, nice and easy, either one of those. The other thing I like to do, and this was something that I found when working with the kids, with some of the kids, that some of them just absolutely have to have lines ruled. They just cannot get a blank piece of paper and start writing. It sort of flabbergasted me actually. I thought they'd pick that up really quickly and easily. Some did, but some absolutely insisted on having some lines. So what I did is I just created a few simple pro formas with some ruled lines, and you can play around with these as much as you like, just to get the kids started. So you can see here, I've just ruled up a few, and the beauty about this is it can be used this way or it can be used that way. So then you get a bit of a mix up between where your text layout goes and where your illustrations are going to go. So it's not just the same. Here's another example of one that I've done. So just put a couple of lines there for the kids to get going. And what I actually found was I did this one or two times and the kids would actually start doing this and really experimenting where the text goes. And then, of course, you bring in all sorts of really wonderful arrangements of texts and fonts and where they're going to be placed. So lots of really beautiful things to come. But first book, so keeping it simple. And there's another little example. So again, can be used both ways. Optional, just an idea to get you started. The other thing I was just going to share with you today quickly was, this is a little information report that I did with a student. She was 9. We read a book about frogs, she interpreted the information, and she's written up her own little information report here. So piece of paper, just going for it, nice and simple. She wrote it up, I went through with the red pencil and said, yep, here's a few spelling corrections because we're always looking for spelling. And then just highlighted those different sections which I thought were appropriate to go on each different page. So this is a skill that the kids need to know. It's not inherent. They don't understand that they can just, this text goes on this page and this text goes on this page. So this is just a little way of helping them along and giving them a quick edit. And so it was just simple, quick, and was really effective as far as getting the spelling corrections done, showing the layout of each page, and then we also incorporated in some diagrams and some maps for the frogs of Australia. So really simple, really easy. If we have a look at one that a previous student's done, you can see here that Her front page, she's gone for a landscape option. The titles really stands out. It's bold, it pops. She's gone over it with black pen. So this is one of my little tips that I say, to go over your text with black, because it just makes it pop out a little bit. Colours are nice and bright. And obviously, you know, she's quite an avid writer. We did rule up some lines here. So for her, I actually ruled them up really faintly with lead pencil, and then we run them out at the end, because that was just something that I like to do. So you can see how she progresses differently on different pages. She started playing around with the text here and putting in a speech bubble. So, you know, all these beautiful things that came. This wasn't our first book, but all these beautiful things that came that she sort of just took on board herself and started to incorporate when we're looking at the quality literature and we're looking at quality texts, and we're bringing out all that rich discussion about text placement and why authors and illustrators make choices about things. She was able to then sort of using some of those ideas in her own work. So it's pretty straightforward. From this stage here, you go to create the book, so you can go to the app tutorial and look at that. There's also a video on the website. If you go into the help button, and underneath that there's video links, and it shows you how to create a book, so that you can watch that with your class, so they get a bit of an idea as well. But on the app, it gives you a little shoot. It's pretty straightforward. It's all sort of tap design to get you going. So that's it. Hopefully you've got a whole bunch of ideas swimming around your head, and you're now ready to go, and you're feeling a little bit more confident. It's your first book, so just get started and get going with it. And remember, you're ticking off your outcomes. This is your writing. This is your visual arts. This is your visual literacy. When you're creating them, you're doing the rereading, you're doing your editing, you've got the spelling and the punctuation happening. So it's not an add-on. This is something you embed into what you're already doing. So happy scribing. If you need some more help, please email me, hello@littlescribe.com, or check us out on Facebook, and I'd love to get your feedback and comments on how you're going. Have a blast. See you next time.